We now are going to talk about ethics and values, and Fodo is going to lead that session. So the ethics and values, like we say, underpins everything. For me, I tell you, when I say what my passion was for Bringing Girls for Girls, this is it. I just think we're losing track. Do we ever reflect on what ethics and values we're living, not spouting and saying, but how do we actually act on that? So the last session is actually one that I thought should come at the beginning, but maybe it comes, appropriately at the end, because they're saying, while you're being a courageous leader, what are the ethics and values you're displaying? While you're communicating and you're negotiating, what are the ethics and values that are at play here? So Fodo will take us through this.
Hi everyone. It's not nice to be the last one. I hope you're still alive.
Saving the best for last.
Is this the best? Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'll take that. Okay. So Rita has been saying the whole morning, and all the other speakers, that basically everything else that you learn in the sessions is interrelated. Okay. And in all those sessions, all the behaviors that we talk about are underlined or underpinned by ethics and values. So what your values and your ethics are determine the behaviors you're going to display or how you're going to make decisions in your life. And this is not just about as a leader, but in your daily life as well. But so much so, it becomes more important also when you're a leader to be able to have values that you lean on and ethics that make sense to everybody. So now, I found two definitions that I thought were useful in terms of making sure that we all, perhaps in a way, and they are not definitive or exhaustive, but they are just a guideline. So in terms of those two definitions, ethics are guidelines for conduct that address the question about morality. And I thought that was useful. The second one is values. They are principles and ideals which help in making the judgment of what is important. Okay, so it's not exhaustive, but it's useful to know that this is what ethics generally is and also what values are referred to. So this module, if we go back to the module now, this module 10 wants to ensure that the mentees, number one, appreciate the importance of holding a value system that guides them in how they make decisions on a daily basis. Secondly, it is to recognize that they always have options when they make decisions. Sometimes we're married to certain ways of looking at things, however, there are always options. And how do we get options? You can't get options generally by talking to yourself. You have to listen to other views. However, the views are useful more to you when you also are coming from a specific place, because then you won't just be swayed. However, you will listen with basically saying, I know what I believe in, however, this person has a different perspective, let me hear it. And maybe that different perspective may just shift you in terms of how you look at that particular situation. It doesn't, however, take away the values and the ethics that you hold. However, when making a particular decision, you have to look at options. And therefore, as leaders, we need to build the capacity to look at situations from a variety of different perspectives and then act. Now, there are many options. So sometimes when we have many options, we tend to be paralyzed. And the options shouldn't paralyze you. The options give you space to look at things from a different perspective, but then at the end you must act. And sometimes the decision you're going to take might not be a popular one. But if you hold certain ethics and values, you stand on it, you can justify what you're doing. It might not be popular, and most of the times it's not. And if I think about how we handled this module the last time, we had a panel, and this is how we did it. We had a panel of different professionals. Myself as an HR person, my friend who is an advocate, an SC, and Natasha as a communications person. And I posed the question, and the question was, here is a person who is very trusted in an organization, handles money, handles cash on a daily basis. The person steals money, but the reason why she steals money is to go and take her charge to a specialist. Now, what does the policy of the organization say? What does it say? Sorry, I can't hear you.
It is not controlled organization.
It's a what?
It's an offense.
Exactly, it's a dismissible offense. The reason that she stole the money. However, when we look at mitigating circumstances, we might just say, in mitigation, she stole the money because she had a sick child and needed to take them to a specialist. However, there are consequences in the organization for other times when people steal. And people will remember that in that case, you said, the reason they did it was. So are you going to be able to justify it? And that's the question. That is the question. If you can justify what you did, that is the question. So, it was very interesting, and we had a very interesting discussion about that. In terms of, then I was asked, so what would your recommendation be? My recommendation, based on the policies of the organization, dismiss. But then the union rep will say, no, but she's a poor woman. So at what point do you then say, no, we are not going to entertain that, because there are, as I said previously, there are repercussions, and you're setting a precedent basically in the organization. So ethics and values become very important. And I always say, if you can justify your action based on a strong belief that makes sense, generally you can make most difficult decisions. Otherwise, you will be everywhere and all over the show.